Hip-hop since 1987.com.
Hip Hop's 1987, Terrell Thomas, and we're live in downtown Atlanta, and I'm with a young lady whose face should be very familiar because she's been doing her thing on camera for a long time now. She goes by the name of Miss Judge Faith. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm great. It's great to be here with you right now talking about a lot of the wonderful things that you have going on. I want you to kind of give our viewers a little bit of your background. You're a judge. You're on a reality TV show as well. You've done some things as Miss America. Talk to me a little bit about yourself.
So right now, this week is the premiere of our third season of Judge Faith. It's a syndicated court show, just like Judge Judy, but syndicated nationally, so check your local listings to see time and station. But we just premiered our third season this week, so we're really excited about that. We have great cases. People ask me all the time, what makes your show different? It's the people and the cases. We search high and low. We don't do just the traditional landlord-tenant cases, which are fine. But we look at social media. A lot of our cases are people who meet on social media and start dating, or things don't work out and they go to social media to air their dirty laundry. You know who you are. You know the people who overshare on social media, those people. We love those people. That's how we find some of our cases. People talk about disputes they have online, and we find them and ask them, hey, would you like to come on the show? So all our cases are real disputes with real people.
So how exactly did you get involved on being on television? Because I understand you didn't come in the door on television as doing things as far as your series. You were actually doing things with MSNBC and things of that nature. Could you talk to me about that?
Yes, I was. So I worked for over a decade in New York as a lawyer for a big private law firm, and then as a criminal prosecutor in Manhattan. When I left the prosecutor's office, I went back into private practice, and I started covering the George Zimmerman trial on television. So I did the entire trial from jury selection all the way through to after the verdict for MSNBC and also CNN and Fox News. And then I was a legal analyst for MSNBC for a while, and before I was approached about doing this show. So it's been a journey. It's been people look at me and they hear that I was in pageants a long time ago. 16 years ago, I was Miss Louisiana, and they think, oh, she's, you know how people comment on social media about the pageant background, even though that was a long time ago. But I didn't do television for a decade. I worked as a lawyer and worked really hard to build my skill in that area, and then this just happened.
I'm glad you gave mention to that, almost serving as nothing was overnight, and you also gave mention to your roots being from Louisiana. Talk to me a little bit about when you began to study law and your upbringing in Louisiana. You don't typically see a lot of African American female judges. So talk to me a little bit about your history growing up in Louisiana and what it's taken studying to get to where you are today.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I always say when I was growing up, there was really no one on television that looked like me in this sort of position. And I watched the Cosby Show. We've all watched the show, and Felicia Rashad in her role as Claire Huxtable on the show playing the lawyer. That was the first time I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's what I really want to do. I didn't have lawyers in my family or anything like that, but I just made the decision. I wanted to help people, and I wanted to be in a role where I was helping people. And I know people think, well, you were a prosecutor, weren't you locking people up? Because I never thought I would be a prosecutor for that reason. But being in private practice, I handled an appeal, and it was a burglary case from the Manhattan DA's office, and you realized how much power prosecutors really have. And in some cases, they have more power than the judge, because they can recommend what the sentencing recommendations are. So that's why I tell people who want to go into law, don't look past being a prosecutor, because we need prosecutors with diverse backgrounds, perspectives, and experiences, because it's not just about locking people up. It's about doing justice, and every case is different. Justice in every case is different, and when you have a different perspective, right, it's a very different experience for you. I had a case in New York, a 17-year-old with a loaded gun. Now in New York, that's illegal. We are hardcore on our guns. You remember Plaxico Burress played for the Giants?
Very well.
Plaxico got 2 years in prison, and he shot himself. He didn't shoot anybody else. He shot himself and got 2 years. So that's how serious we are about guns in New York. So I had a 17-year-old girl in Harlem who had a gun. The normal recommendation is 2 years. I got that case. I'm not going to put this. She had no record, wasn't a bad kid at all, just made a bad decision, was holding a gun for a friend of hers, a guy. we worked it out. She didn't go to jail. She doesn't have a record to this day. But other people, you do the crime, you do the time. So that's why I say you need people with different perspectives in that position, because you can make a difference.
So talk to me a little bit about season 3, and about who you'll have on the show this upcoming year. I understand it'll be going down in a lot of different ways this season. Talk to me about some of the special guests you'll have on it this year.
So we have this by far, 3 seasons taping the show. This by far is our best season. We have a producer. For example, people who are going to be on the show, we have a producer, Ebonice. She booked a case, Yung Joc suing his former manager on the show. I always tell people this is pre-perm Yung Joc, so this is back when, if you wanna, flashback to what he used to look like, you'll see him next week on Monday.
Okay.
When that show airs, he sued his manager. We have Kool Moe Dee on the show this season. He came as an expert witness. We have a lot of up-and-coming artists. And I asked him, what advice do you give a young and up-and-coming artist? And one thing is, read your contracts. All these contract disputes we have on our case between these artists, and I know some people are going to disagree with some decisions I made, but when you sign a contract, I have to enforce what's written. You didn't sign a good contract. Maybe you live and learn next time. And we have, just amazing guests from all over the country who are on the show this season. It's very entertaining. We laugh, we cry. But we have you'll see some real disputes. Father sued his daughter. He paid $3,000 for her wedding dress. She didn't get married. He wanted his money back. Sued her in court. Yeah. So you see an emotional aspect to that case for sure.
Now, being an African-American young lady that's actually in law and things of that nature, and being in the climates that we're in today, unfortunately, as we sit here today, we saw another African-American male killed last night, and unarmed male killed last night in Tulsa by the people who are sworn in to serve and protect.
Right.
I don't want to ask you where you stand with that, but just how is that, like mixing and mingling in both the worlds of Hollywood, because you're on TV, but actually having a job, to protect and serve, and being an African American young lady and seeing these men executed. Almost nowadays, it's almost like they're being executed live, because we see the videos over and over and over again. Yeah. What type of stances can you take? And then also, it's almost a double-sided question. What are your thoughts on the athletes, the African American athletes who have been stepping up and letting their voices be heard and using their platforms?
Well, I can tell you my stance on this. I think it's a fair question. To answer your second question, for example, Colin Kaepernick. It's been really interesting to watch the reaction to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, to bring awareness to issues in this country, police brutality, the social injustices that we see in this country. What's been really interesting is to see the people who are so opposed to that, speaking out on that, but have not said a word about the number of unarmed African American people killed by police. But you are so upset because he took a knee during the national anthem, but you haven't said anything about people losing their life.
Extremely silent today, as you said.
That is amazing to me, and that's where the hashtag Black Lives Matter that's where that comes from, because you are more upset about that, a symbol, right? Well, what about the issues that he's really trying to bring awareness to? And kudos to him for putting his money where his mouth is. He's donated $1 million. Along with the 49ers, which was very important for the 49ers to back him. They also donated $1 million to communities to raise issues. So that's really important. The first part of your question about these excessive use of force cases. Because we see, there appears to be an uptick in these cases, but it's just an appearance, because what we're really seeing is the fact that we have more video now that emerges, because everyone's walking around with a phone, and police officers now have body cams, some of them, and the helicopter camera in the case you mentioned. So what happened before there were cameras around? A lot of officers got away with a lot of excessive use of force cases. And let's be real, they still are today. It's really hard to prosecute police officers because some people want to give officers the benefit of the doubt. Well, he made a mistake, but he meant well. But you're trained as a professional on how to use force, and there's a spectrum of force police officers are given. Deadly force is at the very end of that spectrum, meaning Only when your life or someone else's life is in danger can you use deadly force. Being black and outside does not mean you are inherently in danger because someone is black and outside. Because that's what we're seeing with these cases, right? You can't get a ticket. That's Sandra Bland. You can't sell Lucy's on the street. That's Eric Garner. This guy whose car was stalled on the highway, can he get some help? I mean, it's amazing. And so what the real issue is addressing the implicit biases that I think people have, whether they're officers or civilians, about when you see a black man on the street, why that invokes fear and an overreaction in some people.
Very well said. Very, very, very well said. Do you have any other dreams or aspirations as far as TV is concerned? You know, could you see yourself maybe moving into film, producing other elements of what you have going on?
I haven't really. I would love to branch out and do other things. I haven't really given much thought to it because I've been so busy about being
possibly doing a film or something more than just a reality series or the Judge series.
The Judge series. Well, I'm always approached about doing different things, but nothing that that I've really had the time to commit to or really the high level of interest in doing. So we'll see. What I've done in my career is, if you look back, whatever I'm doing at that point in my life, I want to be the best at it. And when I give young people career advice, even if you're at a job that you don't love, because your goal should be to be at a job you love. That should be your goal. But sometimes it takes steps to get there. And your journey is really important because you're learning along the way. So when you get that position, when you get where you are, you're going to appreciate it so much more. I remember being at the law firm and working all night. I would sleep at my office. It was hard. It was grueling. It was tiring. But it prepared me for what I'm doing today. I needed to learn those things and go through those years of having those late nights to prepare me to get the experience to do what I'm doing now. So don't think I'm not where I want to be. This is so difficult. This is so hard. You do your best and learn everything you can where you are, and it will take you places.
Amen to that. That was well said. Now, you're very elegant. I'm loving how you're answering all the questions and everything like this. But when you take your makeup off, when you let your hair down, when you're relaxing and things of that nature, what do you like to do? What's in your iPod? What comforts you?
That's you know what, and that's always a hard question for me because when you're busy, right? Mm-hmm. So people ask me what I like to do, and I say nothing. I want to do nothing. Like, I want to sit and watch some television. I want to see what's on my DVR, watch some shows. There's a new show that I like too that I need to catch up on, Atlanta on FX and Queen Sugar. I want to catch up on those shows, and so that's what I want to do. And I try to get the apps, where you can watch them on demand. But yeah, that's what I like to do. Just chill, relax, and just have some me time.
So what's next? We know that season 3 is kicking off on TV. It's actually on now. Young Joc will be on Monday. So it'll be going down with Yung Joc. We know you'll be continuing that. You'll be continuing to work in New York as well.
Yes.
What's next for you? What else do you have jumping?
We're going to continue to promote the show this season, and everyone who's watching, a huge thank you, because 3 seasons, it's a big deal in daytime TV. So to the viewers and supporters who watch the show and they like it, we say thank you. I'm going to continue to work on it, promote the show. I'm working on a book. That's what I really want to do next, is get a book published and tell a little bit about my journey and my story about how I started in Louisiana and went from there to law school, to moving to New York, to now doing this. I want people to know a little bit about my journey.
Let our fans and our viewers know who haven't checked your show out, where they can check your show at and where they can catch you on social media.
So the show is nationally syndicated, so check your local listings, time and station in your city. I'm on everything now, social media. I was like holding back on getting on Snapchat for the longest. So I thought it's too much. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just look for Judge Faith. You'll see me on Instagram, Judge Faith Jenkins. But now I'm on Snapchat too. I gave in, and I'm on Snapchat at Judge Faith. But I love it now. It's great.
We're in the digital world, so it's good to be here. Terrell Thomas live with Judge Faith. We're downtown Atlanta. Make sure you stay tuned to Hip Hop Since 1987 for everything this young lady has going on. And make sure you check out her show. We'll be tuning in.
Thank you.